Welcome everybody to the Friday Show, another installment, the second episode of 2019. Are you guys ready to go?
No.
I am.
All right. Well, today we have on the show Luisi,
Hello.
famously of the Can I Roll for Survival.
Famously of the other podcast nobody listens to.
Exactly. And then we have Alex.
Hi.
Alex, famously of being Luisi's fiance.
Yes.
That's the only thing you're worth,
Alex.
Alex.
You decided to marry me.
So famous. I don't know what to do with myself.
Everybody knows that a woman's title is completely related to her connection to a man.
That's true.
All right. So how are you guys feeling? How you guys doing?
I'm good, man.
You're good?
My washing machine broke. So now I gotta buy a new one.
Well, I remember you bought that washing machine from like in the middle of the ghetto.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It lasted
It was a
long
dump,
enough.
man. That shit was garbage. It had like shit on it and everything. I remember I picked it up with you.
Yeah, I know. It was a piece of shit. And it lasted
Yeah.
as long as I thought it would.
Yes.
So
How much did you pay for it?
150.
for both of them,
That was too
though.
much.
For both
That was
of
too
them.
much. Too much.
Listen,
I remember
it
those
was-
washing machines.
What?
Those machines, both of them, looked like the guy found it in the middle of a forest, took it out, and just put it on Craigslist.
It was on Let Go, but that's fine.
Well, whatever. It looked like it was on Craigslist.
It's fine.
All right. Well, at least it did their job, right?
Yeah, I washed clothes for a while and then it stopped.
That's why you should just get like a brand new machine because it's gonna cost a lot more money, but
That's
it'll
what we're
last you
doing.
forever.
I'm literally doing that right now.
There you go. That's what you got to do. Like it's gonna cost a bunch more money, but I mean, at least it's never gonna break.
It'll probably break at some point.
In like 10, 20 years. When
20
you get
That's
money.
years?
what I said. It's going to last 10 years.
Not 20 years.
10, 20.
Not
Seriously.
20.
Definitely 10. Especially if you get a warranty.
We'll get the warranty.
Oh my God, it's like $50.
Let's not get the
For
warranty.
just a warranty?
Yes. I'm not shitting you.
I had to buy a brand new laptop because mine exploded again and I couldn't fix it. And the warranty, it was like a 2-year warranty for like I think
you
it was
bought
like
another
$10.
laptop?
Yeah, no, it's the same new one.
Okay.
The old one like exploded more than once, and the last time it exploded, it was the last time. I couldn't get it to work afterwards. So it was an old ass laptop too. That lasted longer than it should have. But the warranty was like $10, and I was like, screw it. If it breaks, it breaks.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm not going to pay for
But I
an
mean-
extra $50 for a fucking warranty I don't fucking need.
Yeah, but
So
this one was
angry right
$10, and also like, if I just bought the laptop and it broke like 2 days later, I would have been so pissed.
That'd been hilarious.
Yeah, that shit doesn't happen though.
I would be
How's
so
the
angry.
laptop?
It's working great. It has like no memory at all. But like,
Wait, did you get like a Google Chrome one?
no, I got something called Asus.
It's basically like a Chromebook, but
Okay.
but it actually
It's-
has Windows, so it's good.
Okay.
It's garbage though. Like it has this weird like new Windows that like didn't let me download Google Chrome.
What?
What?
It had Internet Explorer, right?
Ew.
Yeah. And so I went on Internet Explorer to get Google Chrome because obviously Google Chrome is just better. Right? So I went to download it and it's like, nah, you don't want this. We don't trust this. We don't want you to have it.
Yeah, it does that. I mean, it's like Danny. Look, if you're downloading Google Chrome from Internet Explorer, they have to try to stop you. Like they can't just let you do it. They have to be like, "Are you sure?" Because please,
No, but-
just come
but
on,
they
give me
said,
a
like-
chance.
They said like in the little bottom corner, we're like in tiny letters, like if you did actually want this, there is a secret way you could get it. And so I spent half the day going in some labyrinth of a laptop, just going in trying to find it. And I finally found it. And then I switched the button to allow me to get whatever the hell I wanted to get. And then something popped out. It's like, why would you do this to me? Why don't you love me how I am?
Oh my God. That's fucking
And so-
hysterical.
And so I killed that shit, and now I have Google Chrome.
Yeah, good for you.
I think you got a specifically insecure laptop, so.
Yeah, this laptop is like, it's just a bitch. It's just annoying. Mm-hmm. But you know, I'm Hispanic, so I got it to do what I wanted to do.
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Just think about it.
No,
Just not too much, though.
I'm not going to.
Are you admitting to like beating women or something right now?
I'm abusing, not physically.
Let's stop this. Let's go to the next
Mentally
topic.
manipulative.
Let's go to another topic.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm sick, guys. I don't really know where my headspace is at.
What are you
I
sick with?
almost died. Like yesterday, I'm pretty sure I got a cold from working at the airport.
You know, with the thousands of people that come in every day, yeah?
Exactly. So I got my first TSA cold, and so I woke up. Luckily, I got the cold on the last day of the week for me, so I can be sick on the weekend.
That's good.
And I wouldn't have to miss any days. But the weekend, the day that I had off, I woke up and I was literally dying. I had shivers. I was like, my head was about to explode. I couldn't breathe. I had so much mucus in my nose. It was just two like corkscrews in my nose. So it was horrible.
How difficult is the TSA as a job?
How difficult is it's not difficult. It's just very, what's it called? It's where you have to move a lot. You're doing a lot of stuff. You're not stopping. You know what I mean?
I mean, what do you really do? You're just telling people to put shit in bags or something, put them in boxes or whatever they do?
I can't get into the details of the job because a lot of things are like sensitive information, so I'm not allowed to talk about it. But
You're not getting paid now.
There's a lot of positions that I have to do. There's a lot of things, and you're always doing something different. Like every certain amount of time, you have to do something different.
Well, that's
I
good.
can't get into it because
It's good that you're constantly like doing something different. At least you don't get bored.
No, you don't get bored, but like you are at the end of the day, you are done. You go home, you don't do anything else, and you just wait for the next day to work again. You know, and that's how it feels. It's not shitty because it's kind of fulfilling. I don't hate the job.
Well,
at
if
least
the job
not yet.
fulfills you, that's good.
Give me a year. After a year, I'll be looking for something else.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about how I got sick. So I got sick, and I had no medicine in the house. So I said, I have to buy medicine, or I'm not going to make it through the weekend.
That's what happens when you're an adult, Danny.
I know. So I had to go to Walgreens and buy myself some medicine. Where I live, there is a Walgreens very close. But there is no parking lot on that Walgreens. Because in Boston, they just decided they don't like parking lots. They want everybody to just either park in the middle of the street or walk. So I had to walk to Walgreens with a massive cold, and it was maybe 17 degrees out.
Welcome to
Not
the real
an exaggeration.
World, no, I know. I know. I've lived in the cold before. It's literally not an exaggeration. It's going to get better, though. Believe me. It's going to start getting warm sometime around April.
Yeah. Oh, great.
It'll stop snowing
in 4 months. I've decided I hate Boston, and I hate everywhere north of Florida.
Danny, you said you liked Boston.
Boston sucks. Boston tried to kill me. Fuck Boston.
How did Boston try to kill you?
With a massive cold and it being 17 degrees. Fuck it. I don't like Boston. Boston doesn't like me. It's horrible.
So just wait till the summer.
So I somehow survived going to Walgreens and I bought the Tylenol. So now I'm just starting to get better. Hopefully by tomorrow I can, actually go into work. I might call off. I don't know.
Well, you and 1,000 other people are calling off, so.
Yeah, so they won't miss me. Well, they might miss me because they're missing a lot of people. I can't talk about my job, Lucy. Damn it. Shut up.
It was me.
Danny, everybody knows
Alex,
that a lot of people are calling out about at the TSA because of the shit. Like
a lot of people are calling out. Well, I can't talk about Boston because apparently Boston is doing surprisingly well compared to other airports.
Really?
Yeah, we're not getting as many call-outs as other people. Miami just had to shut down a terminal.
I heard that.
And I think Houston had to shut down half the airport, something like that.
How long? How much longer do you think the government shutdown can last?
I think it's going to be a long time. I really think this one's going to be a long one.
I mean, it's already been the longest one in history.
I know. I think it's going to be a lot longer.
People can't miss 2 paychecks.
This is the perfect storm of situations, and I'll tell you why. One, the Democratic Party, while usually, historically, they have been giant pussies. They're just scared. They don't want to take any chances. They don't want to risk, losing anybody in any way or in any form or taking any risks. They have been put in a situation where they are right. They are obviously right politically. Everybody in the country knows they're in the right, and they know they're in the right. So they're risking nothing in this shutdown. They have nothing to lose by having this shutdown keep going on because they're not responsible for it. They know it. America knows it.
I know, but at a certain point, so they're both being assholes because they're both leaving the government shut down.
Well, they're assholes, but not for this. The Democratic Party are assholes for being pussies. Now, so that's one side of it. So the Democrats finally, for once in their life, are taking a stand. And I feel like they're going to take that stand for a long-ass time. On the other side, we have somebody who can barely wipe his own ass. He doesn't know anything. He thinks he's right. He's delusional. We have a delusional president. And so he will stick to his guns until he dies. So nobody's backing down because one side is right and the other side is delusional. So this might be a long one. I think what's going to finally end it is this. This is what I'm predicting.
It's really nice.
What's really nice?
She's looking at a washing machine. Just don't pay attention to her. Go
Alex,
on.
we're in the middle of the show.
I know. She only wants to talk about Derry Girls. Just
okay, well, we'll get to Derry Girls in literally a second. Let me just finish my point. So this is what I'm predicting, and people who watch this in the future can see if I'm right or wrong. What's going to happen is this. Time will pass, and people in the TSA and other jobs in the federal government are going to just start quitting massively. Mm-hmm. And the one that's really going to hurt is the TSA because people are going to quit the TSA or just stop going to the TSA at all. Maybe they're going to protest and just shut whole airports down. And when the TSA ends, like when the people leave the TSA and they have to start shutting entire airports down, or people have to wait 5 hours to get into a plane, people are going to start rioting in the streets, and then somebody's going to quit.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
No.
I don't understand how there hasn't already been a riot. But if people miss 2 paychecks, that's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe 2 or 3 paychecks. The tide is going to turn, and people are going to start rioting and protesting, and airports are going to have to shut down. And I believe Donald Trump will not give in. Who will give in is the Republican Party, and they're going to say, "Listen, we can't deal with Trump anymore. We're going to vote along with the Democrats. Trump be damned." And
but Trump can just veto it.
They'll vote a veto-proof bill. So many people will vote. It won't matter if Trump vetoes it or not.
That's a thing?
So that's the thing. If enough Republicans and if enough congressmen vote for something, Donald Trump can veto it. But if it's over 2/3, the veto doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's 2/3
you know what I mean?
majority.
Yeah, it has to reach a 2/3 majority to beat a veto.
Yeah, which it would definitely do because his whole thing was getting people jobs, and now people aren't getting paid at those jobs.
Yeah, it's not even about the jobs. If people in the TSA start leaving, I don't even know if I should be talking like this, given the job I have. But if the people in the TSA start leaving and they have to shut down entire airports, or people have to wait hours and hours to get into a plane, or people start missing flights, yeah, the Republican Party will break. I think they're going to be the first to break. The Republicans, not Trump. Trump will stick to his delusion. Specifically, the Republican Party will break. That's my guess. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Luisi?
Someone's going to break at least.
Somebody has to break it.
It's
going to reach a breaking point.
I think that's going to happen. I just don't know when.
There will be no agreement. There will be no magical deal. It's going to reach a breaking point, and somebody will break. That's my guess. I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
The last podcast on the left has a different offshoot podcast, Abe Lincoln's Top Hat, which is politics.
Yeah.
And I listen to that sometimes. And they brought up a thing that's they think it's going to end when some kind of deal will happen where it'll be some kind of, what's the word? A symbolic victory for Trump. And he'll just take that. But Like, I don't know what exactly that would be, but they said they think it'll be something like that, where he could make a deal where it looks like he won where he actually didn't.
That would be what would usually happen. You know, either like Trump would win a symbolic victory and just say he won the world, he got everything he wanted and more.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the Democrats just would actually give them everything.
But I don't know, like, he kind of backed himself into a corner. Like, that's what he usually does, but he backed himself into a corner with this one because he said literally, I will only accept $5 billion and that's it. Like, that's what he said. Thing. So I'm like, what else?
This is a very unique case.
Yeah.
That would usually be the case, but not in this situation.
And they offered him, they said like 1.5 and we're good.
And he said no. So he can't. Trump backed himself into a corner that only he cares about.
Yeah.
So he thinks if he like reneges on what he wants now, he's going to be a loser. It's all his own mental games. He's not thinking about anybody else but himself.
Well, he's also thinking like
he's in his own world.
But Danny, the thing is, like, people like Ann Coulter was like getting mad at him because he didn't do the wall and shit, and like his supporters were getting mad. So what No, but what I'm saying is that he saw that some of his supporters were flipping on him because of this shit, so he's like, I need to make a stand on this.
And Coulter was flipping on him. And Coulter is just a sad, dry-ass cunt of a person.
I know, Danny, what I'm saying, when she's flipping on you, like,
she flips on anything. She flips on herself. She's an idiot.
Her whole thing is that she hates foreigners. That's her one thing. And I think that's her, like, and I think that's a lot of Trump's, like, core base. They just hate immigration and shit. Like, they hate immigrants. So, that's his thing.
Let's stop talking about this because I'm going to get into a tirade about how the Republican Party is just retarded.
Okay, let's go to Derry.
Oh, no, they want us to listen to them. No, just hear us out. Just blah, blah, blah.
Hey, guys, have you heard of this great new show on Netflix, Derry Girls?
I'll get into the topic.
Look, listen to Alex's
I'll get into
Irish,
topics, guys.
Listen to Alex's Irish accent for a little bit. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Alex.
I have individuality.
Yeah, that was pretty good, actually.
I'm telling you, I'm really good at accents.
She's really good at accents, actually. She, will watch a show with people with accents, and she'll just pick up the accent immediately. And
I don't have that talent. I honestly, I don't know what kind of accent I have. I don't think I have a single kind of accent. I think I talk weird.
An American, I would say it's like it's just a normal American accent. It's not Southern. It's not Midwestern. I have a bit of a Midwestern accent because I'm a little bit nasally.
I think maybe, first of all, I think I talk very weird, like different from anybody else. But that could all be my head. But also, I think you might be right that I have just a standard American accent because most of my language skills were derived from TV because my entire life was just TV and movies. Yeah. I had no social life. No. So I just have that normal TV accent that everybody has.
Yeah, and you were taught by teachers who had just probably a normal American accent. And so you picked up. Because your parents didn't speak English.
Yeah, my social life wasn't in English at all. Like, my house was in Spanish. Everything was in Spanish with my parents and my, grandparents and my aunts and everything and a lot of cousins. And then I would go to church, Spanish service. And then, a lot of friends were family friends who all spoke in Spanish. So English was just pretty much school and TV. That's it.
Yeah.
So I never really picked up a quote unquote regional accent from, any specific place, which I think is better.
I don't think we really lived in a region that had a specific regional accent.
Florida has a very unique accent.
Florida has a lot of different accents.
That's true. There's a South Florida, I'm going to say South Florida urban accent.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
The Miami accent.
Yeah. There's also a Miami Cuban accent.
There is.
Like Hispanics who speak English have a very unique way of speaking, and I don't think I grabbed onto that either.
No, you and your brothers do a weird thing where you don't pronounce your TH sounds. You kind of make an F sound, and I think it's because
that might be a genetic thing.
No, I think it's because you guys spoke Spanish, and your parents were teaching you with a lisp, so then you guys picked up on that lisp.
Oh, it might be. Also, I noticed that I've been watching a lot of YouTube where people talk about specific accents, which is really fun to watch.
Oh, did you watch like the Wired guy who talks
I
about
love that guy.
The linguistic guy? Yeah, I just thought his stuff is really interesting. Like when you think about how accents are like made and how like you have to talk at like, you know, with the front of your mouth rather than the back of your mouth. And I speak with the front of my mouth a lot more than I speak with the back of my mouth. And the back of my mouth that's more of like a I don't know. I think it's more of like a southern accent kind of speaks like towards the back.
It might be. I think you're right.
I saw a BuzzFeed video where they said Spanish words that don't exist.
Parquear.
I saw the same thing.
Like, you know, parquear isn't real.
Parquear isn't a word.
Lunch isn't real. And I'm like, that's what lunch is.
No, it's almuerzo.
Almuerzo. I say almuerzo, but it's lunch.
I also was
a lot
taught
more
the Spanish version of Spanish rather than the Latin American version of Spanish.
Yeah.
Which I wish they would have offered instead.
But lunch isn't even Latin American.
No, I'm talking about like the pronunciations of stuff.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that shit's just like Spanglish, like American.
I love
shit.
Spanglish. It's so funny.
Even though in Cuba they call cakes cakes.
Well,
that's another thing. Like there is like an official proper Spanish, but that's complete bullshit because there's so many countries that speak so many different ways. So yeah, officially that's not a real word, but in in 10 of the 20 countries it's a real word. So I mean, it doesn't really mean anything.
I know, like when I learned Spanish, like calcetines is like socks, and you guys are like, no, it's medias. And I'm like, but it's calcetines. And it's like, no, it's medias.
Nobody in the Spanish world that we live in says calcetines. We say medias.
Yeah, I mean, but you guys are from Latin America. And I'm like, well, why would it be, how did that even start? Like, I want to know, like, how language shifted from normal Spanish to like the Latin American Spanish.
It's slang.
I understand that, but
it's not only slang.
What is the connection between medias, meaning half, and socks? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
What does socks mean?
Well, there's always a pair of socks. So if you have one sock, it's a media. It's half of the pair. And if you have two halves, so it's like having two half medias.
Aren't stockings socks?
No, stockings are like made of like nylon.
No, but like they used to call socks stockings. Like you hang up stockings on the thing. That's a sock.
That's not gonna go anywhere in the as a topic. I want to go back to the guy in Wired who talks about accents.
Oh my god, I love him.
Well, I noticed, I love is extremely interesting, like how he goes into detail. Like I love it. It's like when I see somebody talking about cinematography, about camera work, I lose it. I want to know everything about it.
You watch the Wired stuffs about like how to make a scene or something like that. Like
there's a lot of great videos about like, there's this one.
There's that old YouTube channel, Every Frame of Painting, that was amazing, but they stopped.
I can't believe he stopped making it.
It was so upset. That shit was the best thing ever.
It was incredible. If anybody loves film work and like learning about cinematography and camera work, watch Every Frame of Painting.
It's funny because like I love that shit, but when I watch it, I'm like, I could never do this. Like
I'm the complete opposite.
Like directing and cinematography, that shit, I'm like, when they say like, oh, we did this shot because it does this and all this stuff, I'm like, that shit's great. Like I can't even think of shit like that.
But like also at the same time, you're able to analyze a book and say this is what he meant by this and this is what.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's just a different skill set.
I know. I'm more like that with writing. Like when people talk about writing and stuff, like I'll be like, that makes sense, and I know like.
Certain what things like are foreshadowing and what they're referencing and stuff like that. But you also went to school for that. Like if you went to school for directing, you would know what this,
Yeah, but even before that, like it made more sense. Like when I would see shit about writing, even before I went to like college, it would make more sense to me than when I saw shit about directing.
Okay.
When I saw those videos about directing, like, and they would talk about the film work, the camera work. I would, Lucy would say, I can never do this. I would say, I have to do this. This is incredible. I need to be a part of this. So
yeah, I get that. I really do. I get that.
It's just different ways of seeing the same object. But back to this freaking Wired guy. So he's doing the accent, he's explaining everything, and then so I thought about it and I started listening to how people talk. And I noticed something about me, Lucy, and Sammy, the way we talk. We don't emphasize the T.
No, you don't.
At all.
No, you don't.
Like sometimes we just won't even.
T. See, I went to school. Like when I went, my school had me in a speech program, and I don't really know why. I never asked my mom, but I remember being in a speech program where I had to go over and over and over and say like the vowels and the noises that they make. But I didn't really ask my mom why. But it was kind of interesting that like now I over pronunciate my letters.
That was funny. Me and Danny had to go to a speech class too when we moved to Spring Hill, and I really thought they thought that I was retarded because like I went in there. They shoved us in a closet with
really did. Yeah,
with like two other kids,
the smallest of rooms.
It was a tiny room with like two other kids, and I was like 9 or 10 at the time. It was elementary school, but it was like 4th or 5th grade, some shit like that. But like, they gave me a fucking Dr. Seuss book, and I remember thinking, I remember vividly thinking, do they think I'm retarded? Because like at that point, like I read a lot. Like I was reading for fun. I used to go to the library and shit just to read books, and they're like, "Here, can you read this?" I'm like, "Why do they think I'm stupid?" I don't know. But yeah, I guess we just couldn't talk right. It didn't fix me after I got out either. Like I still talk bad.
Yeah, and it didn't really work. So also they thought we didn't know English. They just assumed that
just talk to us for a minute and be like, "Oh, they know English."
We moved from Miami to a very white part of Florida. Well, at the time it was very white. With time it became more and more Hispanic. But we were one of the first Hispanics to go there.
It's still very majority white, but it is a little.
It's still more, very majority white, but now there's a much larger Hispanic
Before
community.
It was like glaringly white. Now it's like it's mostly white, but there's still a lot of other people.
Work on stuff, but I'm also gonna have some cereal. I'll talk to you guys later.
You gotta do Derry Girls.
Fuck! You guys gotta get on the topic of.
Let's talk about Derry Girls, Danny. Just talk about Derry Girls.
All right, well, finish this. Well, they didn't think we knew how to speak English because we were from Miami. It sucked. It was stupid. Yeah. All right. Getting on to our first official
Let Alex
topic.
Introduce it in Irish.
All right.
I'm good.
Look at this thing. Alex, talk about our first topic.
Oh my God.
Do it in Irish.
Alex, go.
I don't know. I'm getting stage fright now.
Come on, you do it all the time. Just do it.
What do you want me to say?
Say,
introduce the
Derry
topic
Girls
of Derry
is a
Girls.
show on Netflix.
Daddy girls. I don't know how they say girls.
Okay.
It's a show on Netflix.
That was good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I don't know how to say girls. They usually say betches.
Bitch.
Or cracker.
Betches. That's a cracker.
Oh God, I love the Irish accent. I love it so much.
It's hysterical.
All right. So I'll introduce the topic because Alex got stage fright. First topic of the day. 28 minutes into the show. It's this really good Netflix show. Because apparently we don't talk about anything other than Netflix. It's not originally from Netflix. It was on BBC, and then Netflix bought it. A show called Derry Girls. 6 episodes, lovely show, incredible, great ratings.
So good, so good.
And apparently, like, people love it. Like it went gangbusters up in England, and in the entire United Kingdom. And then so that's why Netflix bought it, and it immediately did amazing here. Like everybody loves it here. It's called Derry Girls. It's about a group of young girls and one Englishman. Englishman. Oh, yes. And so it's just them getting into hijinks. Always, like, everything they try to do always ends up shit. So
they're not good people.
They're not really good people, but
they're also teenagers.
They're teenagers, so everything they do, they mess up.
Although the grandfather is fucking hysterical. I love him.
I hate the grandfather.
No, I love him. Because, like, he's just such that kind of, like, pompous asshole who thinks he's right all the time. And he just really does that so well. Also, Orla, who is, like...
Orla
she's
is probably the
missing
best
a couple
character.
Screws. Like,
That's what makes her so awesome.
But she plays her so well. Like,
So
she's so
well.
genuine. It's, like, scary.
You know what I love about that show is that, like, in the first episode, that the nun dies or whatever, and then they they're in a very bad situation because it looks weird, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna do an investigation. And I thought that's what the show was going to be. I thought the whole show was going to be like a 6-episode story arc where they're like investigating them for this shit and it was going to be whatever. But then they immediately drop it. They don't even give a shit anymore.
They don't care.
And I'm like, oh, the show's
Also,
completely
the
episodic.
nun was like
I love
90
it.
years old.
Yeah, I know. But that was the point. They're like, she's like 90. She just had a heart attack. But I thought they were just going to keep that going.
Yeah, she's going to turn 98 next month. Don't you think that has something to do with what's going on? She was cut down in her prime.
Cut down in her prime.
But it's great because like
show.
every show now is like has what's the word? It's like it's like
arc?
connected. Like there's stories. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's like it's basically a long movie, and it's kind of refreshing to have a show that's just purely episodic and like nothing's connected.
And
it's
everything's
Sometimes you
resolved
need
at the
that.
end of the episode, and then it's all fine. Like, there's no
It's just-
repercussions. There's nothing. You don't see anything. It's just fucking life goes on.
It just needs to be funny. That's
It's
it.
just like
There's
classic sitcom.
That's what I'm gonna get into that later on. But first, let me actually finish talking about what Derry Girls is. Irish show about teenage girls set in Northern Ireland in a place called Derry, or Londonderry, considering your, I guess, religious background.
Yeah.
And it's set right in the middle of the 90s, which, if you don't know, the 90s in Northern Ireland wasn't exactly the best of times. It was an era called the Troubles, and it was just a bunch of Irishmen killing each other, Protestants versus Catholics, which I find it to be so awesome that they put it in that time setting, because it's extremely funny, but they put it in an extremely serious situation.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I mean?
like, it never gets serious. Like,
it never gets serious.
Like,
That's
the
true.
shit, like, some of that shit will come up, like, they'll have, like, bomb threats and shit, but they don't take it seriously at all. It's just a joke.
At all.
And it's, like, it's so great. I don't know why. Like, I don't know, when you say it, it sounds like it shouldn't work, but it just works so well.
No, it works. You know why it works, Missy? Because that would be what would actually happen. I didn't live in that time, but I'm sure that's how they talked about bombings. It's like, great, they bombed the bridge. Now the kids are gonna have to go the long way to get to school. That's great.
You just kind of you adapt to your circumstances. It just becomes normal. Like right now, I was just talking to Weesey about this. Like literally, it just feels like the government shut down. Yeah, that's normal now. Like that's a normal thing that the government is shut down.
And also,
a lot of people forgot that it shut down.
That's normal.
Yeah, and our president fucking blatantly lies all the time, and we can't take anything he says literally. That's now our life. That is now our
Even
reality.
though it's always been
The
our life, they're
president
all reptiles.
on a daily basis is just admitting to crimes he's done. And we're just like, well, I guess the president's just a criminal now. I mean, that's it. That's what it is.
We don't respect our president.
Well, to be fair, it's been a long time since we actually
I respected
the president.
Obama. He smoked weed in the 70s.
I don't know why you should respect him for that. But I'm saying
He's a dope dude.
I think the whole facade of a respectable president died when they found out Clinton screwed up 20-year-old.
Do you know how many fucking presidents have been fucking everybody? Thomas Jefferson raped his fucking slave a million times, and everybody's like, "That's right. He's a founding father. Let's respect that asshole."
All of them cheated on their wives, but nobody talked about it.
One of them cheated on their wives, and they still do.
Yeah, and they still do. But Clinton was the first one.
No, he loves Michelle.
Obama might actually have not cheated on his wife because if a black president was screwing a lot of women, trust me, they would have found out. Do you think Fox News didn't have like 20 people on that case?
You think Obama would have been elected if he married a white woman?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh my God, alternate reality shit.
No.
Probably not. But he probably would have cheated on her.
Why?
I don't think that's something he would do.
I think if
Obama, look at Michelle Obama. She has an amazing body. She's
I
fucking
would never
smart.
cheat on Michelle Obama. I wouldn't. She's a good-looking woman.
She's scary. I would not. It's
also not that she's like. How do I put this? She's not like supermodel beautiful.
No.
But she has like an elegance that's of like respectability and intelligence and just it all works for her. You know what I mean? And she got a banging body too.
Yes, she does.
It would just be interesting because like if he married a white woman, he'd get none of the black woman vote.
No.
But what percentage is that really? That's like maybe 5%. Like,
he needed that 5%, man. He needed that.
Pushed him over.
Yeah. That's fun.
Now, okay, but let's talk about Derry Girls. So Derry Girls, Irish TV show set in the 90s. It is, I think it might be the best show that Netflix bought.
Yeah, I think that's a good. Yeah, because it's just literally so genuine. It's like
it's so good.
The kids, it's like it doesn't idolize the kids. It doesn't idolize teenage years. It doesn't idolize fucking, what they call secondary school, which is like our high school. It doesn't idolize anything. It shows them that everyone fucks up. People are shit. The world is shit. But you can still find humor in it.
That's a little bit dark, but I think what I like about it is that every aspect of the show, they did it right.
Mm-hmm.
Every aspect they got aces. Mm-hmm. So
remember when they were gonna
actors,
go to? Remember when there was a
Lizzie,
school
can I
trip?
finish a point?
There was a school trip to Paris, and then the girl's like, "Oh, just ask your parents to use the trust fund."
Yeah,
right? That was funny.
Yeah, and that's actually very realistic because kids don't really understand their economic situation when they're teenagers. So it's like, hey, this girl has a trust fund. I probably have a trust fund too.
Nobody has trust funds.
And apparently they're all poor.
Yeah, I like that. I like how everybody is just. It's all very realistic. The houses they live in are very realistic. The realistic
That's
situations that happen. I love the relationship between the grandfather and the father. It's fucking hysterical.
That's true.
It is like so true though. It is so true.
That would probably be a typical relationship between a son, a guy with his father-in-law, probably in that time in the 90s.
Well, maybe not that,
Ireland.
but it's very realistic to a lot of people that don't get along with their in-laws. Like some people just don't get along with their in-laws, and some people just hate their fucking son-in-laws, and some people are just horrible people. But everyone on that show is a genuinely horrible person, and I love it.
I don't remember the last time I had a conversation with my in-laws.
Yeah, they live in Cuba.
I know, so that's
you lucked out on that one. You lucked out on that one. Sammy's mother-in-law lives fucking 5 hours away. He never has to see her if he doesn't want to. And it's like so funny because Weesey's now stuck with seeing my mom and my dad like every other weekend, if not every single weekend.
Not great.
Oh, come on.
I mean, what if they watch the podcast? But I'm saying at this point, I'm seeing them more than my actual parents, and that's probably a problem.
We're also planning a wedding, so you can shut the fuck up.
They did that before they started planning a wedding.
Your parents are very, our parents are very pissed at you.
No, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm saying, like, it actually, Alex's parents made me appreciate my parents a lot more. Because if mommy and Poppy were, if my mother was like Alex's mother, I would be very upset all the time.
Yeah, you would have some emotional issues.
Why do you think I have emotional issues?
It's not emotional issues. It's just like
I have an anxiety disorder.
Alex's mom will be like, "I need to see you right now," and if it was me, I'd be like, "That sucks." And
I don't think my mom ever said, "I need to see you right now." My mom says, "When are you leaving?"
You also lived there with your 2 children until you were 26 years old. So
they don't need to know my personal life. The economy is very bad for millennials.
Then how are we able to move out? How is Sammy able to move out?
Okay. Also, hey Alex, you can't talk because you're from a upper middle class white family. So
how did Sammy and Lisa move out then?
Luisi made it out because he hooked up with an upper middle class white woman. So
I mean, it's not like her family's paying for anything. We have jobs.
Alex, your parents ain't paying for nothing?
No.
They ain't paying for nothing?
No.
You've been to Disney World like 26 times. They ain't paying for nothing?
No, I'm saying like they pay for Disney World. They don't pay for our housing. Weezy pays most of the bills. I'm a part-timer.
Luisi, you pay most of the bills?
He does. He pays the entire rent every month.
Not all
you guys,
of it.
Do you guys have a joint bank account?
No.
You got to do that when you get married. Alex is in
school right now, so she has a part-time job. So I pay more of the bills.
When you get married, you got to start mixing in your lives. You guys, same bank account.
Danny, we live together, right?
I know, but even white people are different. So like they'll
What
be
are you
married.
talking about?
A lot of when white people get married, they'll still have separate bank accounts.
fuck
You
that
can't
shit.
do that shit.
I want us to have a joint bank account. It makes it so much easier to.
It's just easier if we have a joint bank account and I
God.
have a secret bank account.
Exactly, because like it's so much
For your
easier to pay the
mistress, of
bills like
course.
that. You have no. It's like you just pick it out of one account. It's so nice.
It is. I know what you mean.
So nice, but at the same time, like I really don't think that our lives are gonna change drastically when we
Not
get married.
drastically, because you guys live together.
We
but
live
it will be
together.
changes.
I've lived with him since like the beginning of our relationship. We've seen all the bad shit, and it's like
Lucy has a lot of bad shit about him.
I'm talking about myself too. Like we've seen each other at our fucking worst. It's not. I don't expect it to get tremendously worse. It's gonna
Also,
be
if it doesn't work
exactly
out, you can
the same.
just get a divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Well,
we're
I
gonna
don't
get a
see
divorce.
how a marriage would be different than what we're doing now. It'll probably be different when we have kids.
Oh yeah, that's
And
gonna
I'm-
change
Oh, yeah.
everything.
I'm trying to get her pregnant right now. She doesn't. She doesn't want it, but it's gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen because I am fixed.
that-
And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
That picture, just the idea of that, I'm trying to impregnate
Okay, listen,
this bitch.
Danny. This cannot happen. My wedding dress is hanging up in my closet.
I really wanted to be pregnant in her wedding dress.
My wedding dress has no room for extra anything. I can't even gain any weight. And if I lose too much weight, it won't be able to hold up my boobies.
I just want people at the wedding to think it's a shotgun wedding. I just really want people to think that I got her pregnant and then had to marry her.
No, why? Why?
I don't know. I just
It's
do.
funny. It's pretty funny.
It's not funny. I don't find it funny.
I do.
Why can't we stick to a single topic?
Because
Because
who gives
we're
a shit?
assholes.
Who gives a shit, Danny? Dairy Girls is good. Watch it. Whatever.
All right, I gotta
No.
go. Do shit. Talk to your
All
brother.
right, bye, Alex. Well,
Bye.
getting back to Derry Girls, the
I'm
thing
done
I
with
like
it.
about it most, Lucy, is that they get every single point right. So all the actors do an amazing job. I don't think there's any actor here who did a subpar job. Can you?
No, they were
Think
all
of anyone?
good.
The dialogue was on point. The cinematography, it wasn't anything special, but it did the work
It was a
needed to do.
sitcom.
It was a sitcom.
It reminded me a
good
lot of
sitcom.
Malcolm in the Middle.
You know what? That's a good point. Not in the plot line, but in the
And
style.
like the style, the filming style is a lot, but also the way, the type of show. Because what I liked about Malcolm in the Middle is like it was real a lot of the time.
It was real. It was
like,
just an actual family.
It was a story about a poor family, and that Malcolm in the Middle was one of the only
Well,
shows I could relate to when I was a kid. Because
the
I'm
characters, some of the characters, well, actually, all of the characters in Malcolm in the Middle were all exaggerated. But
yeah, but it was
that
exaggerated. But it was an exaggerated situation of like
yeah,
a life
but
that I
that
can
was-
relate to, and it's like
That was
it's weird when I hear people say like they like to watch things that they can relate to, which is ironically something I can't relate to because like a lot of times growing up, like when I watched sitcoms, it was of people's lives that I had nothing in common with. Like
That's true. I mean, we didn't have the quintessential, normal American family.
so like
you know,
I watch like
We were a Hispanic family.
like I'll watch like All in the Family. Is that Steve Urkel? No. What is All in the
that's
Family?
Family Matters.
Like okay, let's say Family Matters. I'm not black. I'm not necessarily middle class. My dad wasn't a cop. Like that's not. I can't really relate
Yeah.
100% to that show. Like I watch Full House. Nothing about that show I can relate to.
Nothing
But
about Full House.
But I'd watch these things.
Even the Cosby Show, like freaking what's his name? Cosby was a doctor, and his wife was a lawyer, and there was like 28 kids that all went to college and had successful lives.
Yeah, so all that shit, I'm like, that's not like I watched
Where's
the
the
show.
TV
Look,
show?
what?
Where's the TV show where the dad was just a friggin' handyman, and like trying to start up businesses, and the mom was just a stay-at-home mom, and then just 3 kids trying to get by.
I think in the 70s there were shows like that.
That's what a show should have been.
What's the show? Happy Days? Is that a show?
Yeah, that's with Fonzie.
Yeah, I think the people in that show were poor, but I don't know. But like Malcolm in the Middle was the only show I could remember watching when I was a kid, and I was like, that shit's like, real.
That's what an actual family was, especially in this time. The dad had a random office job, and the mom worked at a grocery store to make some extra money. And if they put the mom back on the part-time, they had less money and they couldn't buy as much food.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, when I was a kid, I thought that if you had an office job, you were rich. So, that was the only part of that show that I was like, how's the dad working in an office, but they're still poor? And then now I have an office job, and I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, just the fact that you have an office job doesn't mean that you make good money.
Yeah, but I just thought that because in my head I'm like, people who work like
in an office have stability.
Yeah, they just have money because like if you work in an office, that means you went to school and that means you make money.
I want to see another. That's why Derry Girls is so good because the dad. I think the dad was like a bus driver.
Yeah, he was some kind of driver.
And they didn't have a giant house, and there was like 26 people living in the house. And it was just a normal family, like not even middle class, lower middle class, and it worked. That's what today. That's what life is.
But that was like it was. But I want to get back on that like relating to shows thing because like that's a big thing that people say now, like minority people, like they say like I want to see more people of colors in shows and stuff.
I don't care about the race. I care about
I think more about class.
The actual
really.
family structure. The family structure is very important. You have to get that right. So if you have like a freaking CEO as the dad, I can't relate to that. If you have a giant house, I can't relate to that. If, just...
But why do you have to relate to shit in TV shows? Because I never related to anything I watched. But it was just, if it was funny, it was funny. If it wasn't, it wasn't.
That's a good point. That's a good point. If the show is funny...
If the show is funny or good, dramatic, like if it's good at what it's doing, it doesn't really matter if you can relate to the characters or not.
I think a show needs to be relatable if you're gonna learn something from the show. You know what I mean? Because there are a lot of shows that, like, yeah, you can make a show just to be funny, but don't get it, Lucy. You can't pretend like we don't learn from TV. TV has taught this entire generation of people. Multiple generations of people about a lot of moral issues. I mean, do you really think the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air didn't help with racial relations, or Bill Cosby, or freaking what's the one the one in the 70s where it's like coming on up to the east side? The Jeffersons. All of that helped with race relations.
Because people saw black people on TV.
Full House, helped with, family structures and stuff.
And also, there wasn't a lot of Hispanic shows.
There's not, to this day, there's not a lot of Hispanic shows.
There was George Lopez show.
Which nobody knew about.
Yeah, nobody watched that. But I liked it because his wife was Cuban. And that was the only Cuban I've ever seen on TV for a while.
To this day, we don't have a lot of Hispanic representation on TV shows.
No. That's why I liked Jane the Virgin when it came out,
which was really good. And that's actually
the only reason I watched that show is because they were from Miami and they were Cuban, and I'm like, well, at least they were
Venezuelan. They were Venezuelan.
I thought they were Cuban.
No, they were Venezuelan. But let me tell you something about that brings up a good point. A lot of people like saying, no, you have to show diversity in TV. You have to like if an entire show is white. Where are the black people? And if there are black people, they don't have enough dialogue, stuff like that. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I have my own, what's it called?
Theory on
my own test, my own theory on it. It doesn't have to have diversity. What it has to have is an accurate representation of what the area is.
Yeah.
So if you have a show set in North Dakota, the show can't have like 5 black people.
Unless it's a show about
black people in North Dakota.
Unless it's a show about the only black family in North Dakota. That would be interesting. Exactly. I'd watch that.
So it has to represent. It has to have an accurate representation of what the area is.
Well, the representation problem is
if you have a show in Brooklyn and there's no black people, you got a problem.
Well, if you have a show in Brooklyn and it's only white people, like Friends is the worst.
Friends is garbage.
And Seinfeld too. I like Friends and Seinfeld.
Seinfeld was a lot better.
Seinfeld was better, but it was still bad.
I had a lot of minority characters like that would have one house, but there was a lot of diversity in that imaginary New York. But in Friends was an imaginary New York where there was no diversity of people. Friends was a New York that only white people lived in.
And it was so funny to me, like, because at one point Ross married like an Asian woman, but like she came straight from China. They're like, the writers of Seinfeld must have been... And then when
Ross was done, she went back to China.
And like, the writers of Seinfeld must have been like, oh, how are we going to get him to marry an Asian person? It's not like there's Chinese people in New York.
Oh my God. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem I have. So if you're going to do a show in New York, there has to be a lot of... You got to have... representing everything, because everything's in New York. You can have 6 white friends living in New York, because there's not 6 white people in New York. 3 of them have to be black, 1 has to be Asian, 1 has to be Hispanic, and there's 1 Italian. That's New York.
Yeah.
See? So, and one that I really hated, Dexter.
Yeah, Dexter was the worst.
Dexter
I think it's only because we're from Miami, so we're like...
Yeah. So, and anybody who doesn't know about Dexter is a show about a serial killer, which I like that the serial killer was white, so that's good, you know. Don't make the serial killer Hispanic. What are you going to do? The first Hispanic main character, you're going to make him a serial killer? That's not cool.
I'd like that. But Danny, I mean, you have a problem with making Hispanic main characters bad people, but I'm like,
yeah,
why? Just make them bad people.
You may have a point with that, but the problem I have with Dexter is that if Dexter was an accurate representation of Miami, the entire show would be in Spanish. Because nobody in Miami speaks English.
But the thing is, like, I think the problem is more, it's not, because they always say the problem is like hiring actors. Like, you need to hire more diverse actors. It's really like the creators of things have to be diverse. Because if you have a black person making a show, there's going to be black people there. That's going to be whatever. If you have a fucking Hispanic person making a show, it's going to be true to their experience, whatever it is.
It's very true. The creators there has to be a lot of
diversity. They'll hire
in the
diverse
creators,
shit. But the thing is, like,
they're going to have an aspect, they're going to have a point of view that just an average white person won't understand. But the problem with that is there's just a lack of black and minority people who take that opportunity, because there's a lack of opportunity.
But the thing is, like, that's changing, because the people who have always been able to become writers and shit and show creators in like Hollywood and shit are just people with a support system that are able to go to college and become a writer, which is insane.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
If you're poor, you can't have a stupid job like writing. You have to get a real job that'll pay you.
If you come from a lower middle class family in the middle of Miami, you're not going to be able to move to LA and just see what works out, because your parents aren't going to pay your rent. These rich white people, they can take that chance. A kid fresh out of college can go to LA, have their parents pay their rent for like 3 years until they finally make it. I can't do that. Nobody I know, nobody in my social situation can do that.
But the thing is, like, I don't know, like, the race issue with that is changing, because I think there's more people that are like middle class and upper middle class that are not white. So I mean, I think that's just... So, like, there's a lot of the best shows right now are made by black people, like Atlanta and shit. A lot of the best movies and stuff. So, like, there's a lot of diversity now. There's a growing diversity now, because we're finally starting to make it in TV. Because, you know, when one minority makes it in, they'll open the door for other minorities. But I don't even know if I don't know if it's necessarily racism. I think it's just like the systemic racism.
It's not racism. It's just the social structure that we were left with.
I know, but I think it's more of the class.
It's not a conscious decision.
It's not
of racism.
It's not like race. It's more like class. It's like, if you have the money to become a writer, then you can. But if you don't, then you can't. And
that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. Minorities, especially black people, historically have been put in lower situations. You know, after 400 years of slavery and then another 100 years of social inequality, you're not going to start from in the same spot as white people. So there's a lot of black people who can't take that risk of, you know, doing a career there's a lot of risk in that career. Mm-hmm. So it's something that might be hard for a white person. It's gonna be 10 times harder for a minority because we're not starting from the same point.
Well, it depends on the person.
We have to run an extra mile.
Depending on the person, you could have a minority.
Depending
that
on
has
the
a lot
person,
of money.
I'm talking in generalities. So a black person, a black family that has, if it was the Bill Cosby family, if it was the Cosbys, yeah, freaking Theo could have gone to L.A. and tried to be in a script.
But it's also like, have you? I don't think I've ever seen like a show about like somebody from the Louisiana Bayou, like a white person from the Louisiana Bayou. Those people aren't becoming showrunners. Like
that's a good point.
Like, it's funny. I saw a thing like, do you know who Dizzy Rascal is?
No, not at all.
Dizzy Rascal's a rapper from England. Like, he's a grime rapper.
Okay.
And he said when he came to like, but he's from like I don't know, like I guess the ghetto of England, like the rough part of London, whatever that means, you know.
I'm sure there's a very rough
part
I know
of there is, but I don't know anything.
They don't got it easy.
I don't know anything about that, but he's from the rough part of London. Whatever.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure.
There is. I just don't know what it is.
They just don't have guns.
Yeah, there's a lot of
it's not as rough, but it's pretty rough.
But like he said, like he didn't know, like, you know how people say like, oh, I've never seen true poverty until I went to the Congo or whatever. He said, oh, there's a lot of poverty. When I went to America, I saw real poverty. I'm like, shit. This guy's
damn.
Like he's like, oh yeah, I went to like Louisiana, and these people, I don't know how they're living like this. And I'm like, shit. Yeah, that's my country.
There is a big inequality in this country, and you actually brought up a good point. So we talk a lot about minorities, but there is a giant chunk of forgotten white people who just never made it.
Like I call it the Swamp Belt, which is like Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. That kind of shit.
Northern Florida is really bad.
Like, that shit is the poorest white people you'll ever find that are just living in swamps.
God, just squalor, man. They're living in squalor.
Like, I think those might be the poorest people in America, honestly. Like,
yeah, but they're not only white people.
I know, but it's also a shit ton of white. It's just basically white people and black people who live there.
Yeah, and they're it's like a belt of people who never got out.
Yeah.
Like, they never progressed.
And it's funny, like, there's this comedian, Theo Von, that I like a lot, that I just started
I've heard of him. I heard he's really good.
He is, but he's from like, that Louisiana. He's from
Louisiana.
Is he racist?
I feel like he might be racist.
No, he's just really weird. But, like...
okay.
But, like, it's funny, like, because he comes from that kind of shit, and it's interesting to hear his take on things, because I don't think I've ever seen, like, a comedian from that kind of place.
What's his take? What's his angle?
I can't explain it. Just watch.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Watch some of his shit on Netflix. He has a special out on Netflix. I forget what it's called. No offense.
I remember a couple times really, I've like taken a wrong turn in Northern Florida, and I've seen just some scary shit, man. Just like real, just like poverty that shouldn't be in a first world nation. Yeah. And I'm sure that doesn't happen in Sweden or Norway or anything,
America's really bad.
Yeah. The thing is, America is a lot worse than what the upper middle class wants to think. They don't know. They don't want to know.
The thing is, that's basically every country, but I think America's tricked itself. Every country that's not like one of the
America
top
turns a blind eye to it.
So like a place like Colombia, it has really nice places and has really bad places. And those
but Colombia isn't a first world country, it's still developing.
Okay, but like it's like a mid-tier country,
Not even. It's coming up, but I mean Colombia isn't the best example.
Think of a better example. What am I talking about?
Costa Rica, Argentina.
But like places that have nice places, that if you live in the nice place, it's like living in a developed country, and then it has really bad places.
Well then Colombia would be accurate, I guess.
Yeah, like it has nice places that if you live there, you have all the same, like you have all the good shit. It's fine, but there's also places there where people are living in huts.
Yeah, I mean, the worst situation. There's a giant disparity.
And that's most of the countries in the world, I think.
Yeah, most developing countries.
But like, except for like the top 10 most developed countries in the world.
Not top 10. I think it's like, I think you can divide it up into thirds. So 1/3 is just underdeveloped. Another third is developing, like they're in the middle. They're trying to make it up. And then another third is just completely developed countries.
And people put America into that. But like, there are so many places in America that are really, really bad. And I'm like...
America has turned a blind eye to its big issues. So
people in Flint still can't drink the water.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, Flint to this day doesn't have clean water. In a rational nation, the government would fix it. But we live in a country where there's an entire party that thinks that if you have dirty water, it's your problem. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and die from lead poisoning, I guess.
Well, Danny, what has the Democrats done for Flint, Michigan?
In every other country in the world, when you live in a democratic country, it's obvious that the government should just fix the water because you pay your taxes and you assume that your tax money can go into clean water. But in America, no, the government shouldn't do anything at all, ever. Because government is bad. Because government is evil. Even though we are the government, we elect our government officials. The government is created to represent us in a democracy. But no, it's evil. The thing that you created, the thing that represents you is evil.
Well,
I hate conservatives.
The thing that what they actually say when they say that thing is that government has very specific roles that it should do, and it should leave itself out of other aspects that. And I agree.
It should leave. It should get out of your personal life. Yeah, if you want to marry somebody of the same sex, the government shouldn't get into that. If you want to do something with your body, the government shouldn't get into that. If you want to take drugs, the government shouldn't be involved in that. But guess what? Those are the things that conservatives want the government to get involved in. So you're just retarded. Republicans are retarded.
Danny, calm down with this shit.
Okay, I'm getting too far. What were we talking about before that? Listen, there's just a giant disparity in this country.
I don't know. I'm talking about the end of the show. Thanks for listening, guys. Okay, look.
Lucy, you can't do that.
Why not?
You can't just sneak up an ending on these people.
I'm sneaking it in.
No.
Okay, guys.
God,
I know you were listening to a podcast, but it's over now. So,
Lucy, stop.
I'm good. I'm done.
We gotta lean them. We gotta get them ready for the end of the show.
I just did, and now let's end it.
We gotta break it to them slowly. All right? Can you breathe? Let's take a breather, Lucy.
I'm leaving right now. So
why would you leave, Lucy?
Dang, I gotta go.
Why do you have to? I didn't even get. You know what's weird? Can I just end it on this? I always come in with multiple topics, at least like 2 or 3, and I never finish all my topics. I had more topics and I can't even get to them. Jesus. Just ones I want to be able to like do all of my topics and say, okay, guys, it's time for the end of the show. Let's finish. Instead of getting one topic down and then you out of the blue just saying the show's over.
Not out of the blue. We hit an hour and I'm done.
Lucy, the hour doesn't mean anything. This isn't cable TV. There's no commercials. Friends doesn't come on after this, all right? There's no Big Bang Theory after this, all right?
That's how long I want the podcast to be, and I'm not going to do more than that.
It can be a general idea of an hour. It can be an hour and 15 minutes. It could be 45 minutes.
I like the 45 minutes.
It could be 2 hours if I feel like it. I'm the host.
You could be on here for 2 hours. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, fine. You know what, Lucy? Let's go ahead and end the show. Why don't you finish it out with some final thoughts of the episode?
It was decent.
No, not on the topics we covered.
I thought you wanted me to rate the episode.
No, Jesus. Do you have any?
I don't have any.
What's the point of the show? What was the point of today's show, Lucy?
These things don't have points, Danny. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm trying something new. All right,
it's failing.
What's failing? The show is failing?
Your new idea.
Oh my God. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end it. Well, guys, I tried to do something. I tried to make this show better, but Lucy won't let me. So I had fun today. We'll see you guys next week. If you like the show, you think this is fun, I don't know why you would think it was fun, but if you think this is fun, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez to watch the show. Follow us on Twitter, 3_gorillas. Spell out the word. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube. All the things that you can find us on. Three Gorillas Entertainment.
And guys, remember, if you need stamps, go to stamps.com. They have stamps. They have their mascot stamp, Jesus. You can lick his flesh, and he'll save you.
We need commercials. We need to make some money off of this. I want to make
some
money
off this podcast. We get
more
than 20 listeners, maybe we can get commercials.
All right, guys, that's the end of the show. We love you. Follow us next week. We love you. Cue the music. Bye.